the whole conversation around the Africa energy is what we're discussing, because the Chamber, the AEC, on Tuesday released the State of the African Energy Industry report for the first quarter of 2022. That report looks at developments in the energy industry globally and across the African continent. The industry report also comes as the African Energy Chamber is prepping for the second edition of its high-profile summit in Cape Town later in October. Ayuk is the executive chairman at the African Energy Chamber, and he joins me now on the show. Thanks for making it tonight, sir, on the program. Let's hit the ground running. What are the key points of this latest State of Africa Energy report for the current year, 2022?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really bullish what we see in 2020. We saw very low discoveries in Africa. We are expecting to see about 9 high impact wells being drilled this year. Already we've seen some great success stories coming out of Namibia with the Graph and Shell. There's been an amazing discovery there. Total is set to announce a discovery in Namibia, so that's really good news. But then you still see where we see in the first quarter, Brent crude has somewhere around above 90. So we're moving into that volatile space in the market. Nigeria, Angola, Libya, Congo, and Algeria still maintain the top 5 producer spot in the continent, and you're going to move with that. We're seeing local producers actually angling to grab new assets from some of the existing and legacy producers, especially indigenous producers looking out of Nigeria, with people moving into Shell and Exxon. But you're also seeing a lot of new potential gas movements around, with gas projects being kicked off. Today, ENI got out some of the contractors. When you look at in Congo, they're going to move to an LNG project there. Mozambique, the Coral has been put right on back on track, and it's working. Senegal is moving progressively with the GTA. So Africa, we've seen a shot of optimism in there. Greenfield projects around the continent, exploration is seeing an uptick, and thanks to the Petroleum Industry Act in Nigeria, you've seen a little bit of progress, but it's not as fast as we want. But we're still seeing a lot of other challenges that are going to happen on the regulatory side.
NJ, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, NJ, I want you to give me some of those big issues or key issues on the global front that Africa's energy industry players need to pay very keen attention to.
Russia, Ukraine, that is big right now. It's shifting the markets, it's driving the markets. What can we do to fix that? You probably have better ideas than I do. But I also think that is something we should pay attention on. But we should also pay attention on the global front when it comes to energy transition and climate change and the divestment coming into it. But big thing, we just had the EU-Africa summit, which there was $300 billion pledged into Africa, but we have to be careful not to think that we are going to give up fossil fuels, give up oil and gas to accept renewables when it's not time or when it's not more balanced. But African players have to look at the new changing dynamics with ESG and say, not only complain, but come right back with solutions. Carbon capturing technology, ESG policies, plans for African players. We are behind on that, and that is a big thing when it comes to getting financing and also really operating new fields. So we cannot see the accidents that have really happened, as you've seen with AHE lapses among local players. This global shift, we need to be paying more close attention to that. And I think not just local players, but every service company, governments have to really wake up and pay more attention.
Interesting. What do you think, NJ, in terms of what Africa's clean energy transition agenda should be? What's your view on Africa's balancing its energy needs and the transition question?
We need to establish an African Green Deal. We don't need to have people imposing to us. 6 months ago, Europe said gas was not green. It was fossil fuels. 6 months later, they say gas is green. Gas is not fossil fuels. Gas is green, it's not fossil fuels. So we need to really balance that. So how do we do that? We come right back with solutions. We drive our industry, we drive what a green deal for Africa is, and what is that green deal? That's why the Energy Chamber is driving an African energy dialogue, which will have a big summit, which I call going to go from Cape Town to Cairo, because we have COP this year in Africa. We should not be going to Cairo if we don't have an African Green Deal. And that is very important, because we would be able to define what Africa sees as the future, as a transition. But we need to really start embracing carbon capture technology so we can produce low carbon LNG. We can operate fields with technologies that cut down, reduce carbon emissions, even though we've emitted just less than 4%. But don't forget, we have something which died almost in 2012, the Trans-Saharan crude pipe, the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline from Nigeria, Niger, and Algeria. I was just there. They signed that. They're going to move on that. I was there. They're so excited. And they are going to do that with carbon efficient ways. And I think Africans need to embrace that. We need to drive that as an industry, and we don't need to wait. We don't need to wait for others to tell us that to embrace it.
What's the road to Cape Town 2022 Africa Energy Chamber Conference? What is it looking like right now? It's down there in October.
I'm excited. I'm excited about Cape Town. We have already about 12 of the 17 petroleum ministers confirmed. Nigerian minister was the first minister to confirm Cape Town, sign an amazing partnership with us. So we are getting a lot of African ministers. The IOCs are already on board. We've had some amazing discussions with the IOCs. But yes, what is we going to do? We're going to do a game changer. We're going to bring young people into Cape Town, because we've always neglected the role of young people in this industry. So they are going to drive that discussion, because they need to be part of the conversation of our energy future. But then the role of women, we're going to include that, supercharge it, move it faster. But we're ready. We have great partnerships we put out there. We have a partnership with Frost and Sullivan. We're getting more partnerships that I will announce next week or after next week for Cape Town. Here's the deal. We need to prepare ourselves from Cape Town to Cairo. We need to do that. But we also need to be very firm in our conviction to drill, to develop, and bring hydrocarbons. What's our big issue? 600 million people have no access to electricity. 900 million no access to clean cooking technologies. Most of them women. This is not the time to back down and give up our natural resources without solving the issues of energy poverty. Our generation must have a commitment, and our industry must be steadfast in our commitment to make energy poverty history. So when some guy comes from London and start talking something that is very strange, we go right back to them. And if they like about what we're doing this time, we're going to tell the truth and we're going to correct it. If they attack, we're going to come right back. And sometimes, the best way to start with the opposition in Dubai is you just tell the truth, and then the truth will set you free.
The truth will set you free. I love that last line. Thank you so much. You took it from one of the greatest books of history. But again, the road to Cape Town, I'm sure the journey has already started. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Ayuk, Executive Chairman at the African Energy Chamber in Madrid, Spain, raising the curtain on that latest report on the state of African energy first quarter 2022.